I'm Ann Rancourt for AIDS.gov, and I'm here at the National Institutes of Health with Dr. Carl Dieffenbach, Director of the Division of AIDS at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, part of NIH. Carl, thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So today we are talking to folks about viral suppression, and in particular about HPTN-052, a study that looked at viral suppression. Tell us a little bit about this study.
It's a really interesting study. Years ago, we asked the question, we wanted to answer the question, would virologic suppression, meaning people who take drugs, the antiretrovirals, and fully suppress the virus in their bodies, would they still be transmissible? Would their virus in their body be transmissible, or would essentially they be in a non-infectious state? And we designed the study by enrolling serodiscordant couples. Whether men or women, and either could be infected. Then we put half of them on therapy, the other half not, and we waited then to see, in the presence of really the state-of-the-art prevention packages being offered to both, what their level of transmission was in the two groups. What we wanted to see was there lower transmission in the treated couples. And lo and behold, what we saw was that there was. It was a fairly significant effect. At the time of the interim analysis, it was 96% effective, blocking linked transmissions. A recommendation from the Data Safety Monitoring Board was to offer therapy to all the couples, not just the half that had been on therapy. And in so doing, we were then able to start asking a second important question. And that question was, is therapy durable? If you start therapy and you can sustain taking therapy 365 days a year, every year, and get durable virologic suppression, is it maintainable over a period of time? Over the course of your lifetime, 5 years is not really that long. And lo and behold, what we saw was the rate had dropped from 96% to 93%. So by and large, yes, it is true, durable suppression and the ability of these people to stay on therapy was proven to a point where we were very pleased with the result that we had such a profound impact still on HIV transmission among these linked individuals.
So Carl, you mentioned a 96% reduction in risk, which then turned into a 93% reduction in risk. What do those numbers mean? What is a reduction in risk?
That's a really important question, simply because you're dealing with sort of the way a trial is set up. So everybody counts in a trial. And so if a transmission event occurs, regardless of why it occurred, it counts against you as going toward risk. And so what we saw by the end of the study, there were cases where transmission had occurred in the early treated arm, in the treated arm. But in subsequent analysis by the HPTN laboratories, we were able to demonstrate that in each one of those cases, the person who was on therapy in those partnerships were not virologically suppressed. They had had a break in therapy for some reason, or they had not started therapy soon enough. There was detectable virus in their systems. So you can talk about 96, 93. The important number is 100%. Is if you are durably virologically suppressed, you will not transmit to your partner. And I think that is one of the major takeaways that we have to have from HPTN-052. I'll say this again. For somebody who is in a discordant couple, if the person is virologically suppressed durably, there's no virus in their system, hasn't been for several months, your chance of acquiring HIV from that person is 0. Let's be clear about that, 0. If that person the next day stops therapy for 2 weeks and rebounds, your chance goes up. That's why we talk about durable virologic suppression. So you're as virologically suppressed as good as your adherence. That's the message. So as we go forward, it comes back to how you, as somebody in a serodiscordant couple, negotiate this. What is your role in helping to support, provide the adherence support for your partner? And what are the options that you can provide in terms of making sure that they take their pills, you support them, and we move forward in society to honor and support people who are playing these roles and continue to provide the assistance for both the HIV positive and the HIV negative person in a discordant couple so that they can achieve their desired goals of living and loving together.
Thanks, Carl. And thanks for watching. For more information, visit AIDS.gov.